Hey guys, quick video today. There's a lot to cover obviously behind me, but I did have a question for all of you that have been watching, commenting about the Voron 2.4 project. One of the comments that was in, I think it was the first video, was around the idea of skeletonizing the piece. As you can see here, this is the first Voron part that was made on the machine behind me. The finish is really great. I nicked it here, but aside from that, I mean, this was done in a matter of minutes, not hours, like the previous setups would do. It looks great. It's just like silky smooth. Everything's just dead nuts on tolerances. Couldn't be more happy with the piece. That being said, you know, if we're going to go through the effort of making this a metal Voron, skeletonizing it, making it as light and rigid as possible, I think is really important. And I'd love to get your feedback on how to best do that. So let's jump into the cam. I'll show you what I made and edited the piece to do. There's some time lapses there, and I'd love to get your feedback. So let's jump in there right now. So I wanted to do more than just show you the piece, like show you the end result here. I kind of wanted to show some of my process. So what you can see here is this is the Voron open source model. I took it from the website. And I'm just identifying kind of what I'm going to do, thinking through what is required with the part. And this is actually this is a time lapse that will show you how I prep a part for machining, because there's a lot of aspects of the part that aren't really machinable or need to be retoleranced, and I will kind of explain that as we go through here. So jumping into the part itself, I take that component and I isolate it from everything else. After I do that, I go through and I remove some of these features like this undercut chamfer, or not chamfer, but kind of radius circle. We don't mind hard edges when it comes to machining. In fact, it's probably easier. So I'm just simplifying the model a lot from some of the things that the Voron designers put in to help make it more printable. I'm removing that, such as these little radii around the sides of the pieces. I can't machine the logo in, so I get rid of it because frankly it's really hard I just don't want the cam paths to have issues with it. Removing most of this stuff is pretty straightforward. Getting rid of some of the chamfers and pieces, it's more of an order of operations thing. You gotta find the right piece of the puzzle to delete, and then it kind of becomes a lot easier to remove. And then after that point, I just went in and cleaned up some of the stuff I couldn't remove. So here, there was a little leftover an artifact of the original fillet and stuff, and over here the chamfer had issues as well. So I was going to remove those two things, and then we have a nice and square part. The next piece that we have to fix is the tolerances. This was designed for a 3D printer, so a lot of the holes are oversized, and it would provide a lot of slop when I put the piece together. So I'm retolerancing everything, making the holes smaller, more accurate, because the machining, it has a lot better tolerances, obviously. So that's just me going through doing this. It's a pretty straightforward process. I tend to tolerance the pieces around 3.1 millimeters or 0.1 millimeters over the spec. So those are 5mm holes, and then I will tolerance it as a 3.1. Once that's complete, I have my base model. You can see here, I'm just going to spin it around. It looks very similar to the original part, but not quite. And by the way, on this one, this is the one I want to skeletonize. These two clips that I'm doing time lapses of were done in opposite order, but for just sequentially, it makes more sense to show them this way. So as you can see, this part still has the little slopes coming out of the main posts. Those get removed eventually. The other piece was the top piece of it. This is technically the bottom, but you don't have to really worry about that. The main thing is here, I'm brainstorming how I'm going to skeletonize this to make sure that all the features are still well supported, that it still has integrity, but at the same time is much lighter. And this is where I'd love some feedback, because as you can see, I did a offset from the sides to create basically a set thickness around the edges, and then I went and pulled circles around the features so that the main interface points weren't too heavily stressed. and then just kind of went through and cleaned up those lines. And I guess, I'm not sure if this is the best way of skeletonizing it. Maybe I could remove more. Maybe this is going to be overly rigid and I can remove even more material. I think the main thing is that I want it to look good. And frankly, what I come up with here at the end, it looks okay, but it really isn't, it's just not what I'm looking, like, I don't know, something's missing. I'm sure somebody has a better technique when it comes to skeletonizing and stuff. I think functionally it'll be fine, but maybe it's too safe. So any feedback I can get on this before I go through and program all the paths and everything would be great. I mean, very much appreciated. And now I'm just gonna go through, so with a CNC machine, when you're removing material, you can't do like, 30-degree angle tight corners and stuff. Everything's basically has to be, it's set by the radius of your tool. So I was just going through here, running some of the tool paths to see what the actual setup will be once I skeletonize it. And you can see here the pocket on the bottom was missed. And I actually went back and fixed that at a different time to make that machinable. But I'm just kind of checking some of the tolerances right now to make sure that it's all there. But I don't know. This is what I need the feedback on. What do you guys think of this look? Do you think we can do better? Is there a strategy to skeletonizing a part that I missed? I'd be happy to share the step file of this part and let you guys tinker with different ways of making this look better and maybe be more functional. But I'm completely open to that. And then finally, I'm just going to end it here with taking the first piece and the second piece, lining them up, and then transferring the skeletonized pattern over, so it looks consistent, from the top to the bottom, and that's what you're seeing here. So overall, not beautiful. I think it's functional, and I still might make the part, but before I go through all that time and material cost, I'd really like some feedback from the community. And let me know below if you have any questions or comments. Please reach out, and I can't wait to hear from you guys. I'll see you on the next video. Talk to you later. Bye.